There's a special kind of warmth that rises inside you when you think back to the old British supermarkets, the ones that lived in the corners of our childhood like quiet companions. The soft hum of fluorescent lights, the gentle clatter of metal trolleys, the handwritten price tags, and the smell of fresh bread drifting through narrow aisles created a world of their own. These were more than places to shop. They were tiny universes where everyday life unfolded, shaping memories we still carry like hidden treasures. Number 1. Fine Fare. If you grew up in the late 70s or early 80s, Fine Fare was one of those names that felt stitched into the rhythm of British life. Its yellow and black logo seemed to glow like a familiar beacon on gray, drizzly mornings when families piled into the car for the weekly shop. Inside, everything felt slightly dim yet strangely cozy, with aisles that smelled of cardboard packaging, potatoes in mesh bags, and those classic supermarket bakeries that always felt a little warmer than they looked. You might still remember the sound of trolley wheels echoing across the tiled floor as your mum compared prices on tinned peaches, while you begged for the smallest packet of sweets. For many families, Fine Fare was the backdrop of Saturday routines, a solid, dependable part of the week that never changed. But by the mid-80s, the brand faded, swallowed by the rise of bigger, glossier chains. And just like that, the familiar logo vanished from British streets, leaving behind only the soft memory of simpler shops and slower days. Number 2. International stores. For older generations, international stores was the quiet workhorse of British shopping, especially through the 50s, 60s, and 70s. It wasn't flashy, it wasn't grand, but it had a certain dependable charm, the kind that made it feel like a neighbor rather than a business. The shelves were close together, often smelling faintly of spices, tea packets, and floor cleaner. You'd hear the gentle ringing of the till as women in wool coats chatted about ration habits lingering from earlier decades. Children wandered the aisles clutching coins, deciding between toffees or chocolate buttons, long before plastic packaging took over the world. International stores had a way of bringing communities together, especially in small towns where it served as both a grocer and a meeting point. But as competition tightened and larger chains modernized, the quiet familiarity of international couldn't keep pace. Store by store, the signs came down, and another piece of neighborhood life quietly slipped into memory, leaving behind the scent of old paper bags and a gentler way of shopping. Number 3. Safeway. Safeway arrived in Britain with a sense of modern American efficiency that made it feel slightly ahead of its time. By the 80s and 90s, its bright red signage and clean, spacious interiors gave it an identity that stood apart from the older, more traditional British stores. Stepping inside felt like entering a place that understood both convenience and comfort. With well-arranged aisles, the soft blip of barcode scanners, and a distinct bakery smell that always seemed to drift toward the entrance. Many families will remember stopping in after school runs, picking up fresh rolls, savory eggs, or the classic Safeway own-brand biscuits that kids devoured before you'd even reached home. Safeway was also known for its friendly staff, many of whom stayed for years and became familiar faces behind the checkout. But as the supermarket giants consolidated and competition tightened, Safeway slowly disappeared. Absorbed into Morrison's in the early 2000s, its red logo vanished from the high street, taking with it the comforting mixture of American flair and British homeliness that once made it feel almost futuristic. Number 4. Kwik Save. Kwik Save was the scrappy, no-nonsense underdog of British supermarkets, especially in the 80s and 90s. For many working-class families, it was more than a shop. It was a lifeline where frugality didn't feel embarrassing but normal. The aisles were simple, the lighting sometimes harsh, and the shelves often stocked with bargain brands, but there was a certain pride in stretching a few pounds across an entire trolley. The smell inside was unmistakable, a mix of cardboard boxes, budget crisps, and freshly delivered bread that had been stacked straight onto pallets. Kids often chased each other near the freezer section, while parents compared prices with a seriousness reserved for something far more important than groceries. Kwik Save represented an era when value mattered above presentation, and families worked together to make ends meet. But the rise of newer discount retailers, combined with financial struggles, eventually pushed Kwik Save into decline. One by one, stores closed, leaving behind memories of red and white signage and the quiet resilience of households that knew how to make every penny count. Number 5. Gateway. Before it evolved into Summerfield, Gateway was one of those supermarkets that seemed to sit at the heart of smaller towns and suburban estates. Its green branding had a gentle, earthy look that made every store feel understated yet welcoming. Inside, you'd find narrow aisles filled with neatly stacked tins, bright fruit displays, and those squeaky floor tiles that echoed every step. Children remember clinging to their parents' coat sleeves while eyeing the sweets by the tills, while adults relied on Gateway for its steady mix of affordability and friendliness. The staff often knew customers by name, creating a community warmth that many modern shops simply can't replicate. Gateway felt like a place where life slowed down a little, where a simple trip for milk could turn into a 10-minute chat about the weather or the latest village fete. But as the 90s progressed and branding shifted, Gateway lost its identity, re-emerging as Summerfield and eventually disappearing altogether. All that remains now is the memory of its soft green logo and the quiet comfort of a shop that belonged to its community. Number 6. Presto. Presto was one of those supermarkets that flickered briefly yet brightly in the British retail story, especially during the 80s. Its bold orange and brown branding made it instantly recognizable, standing out on high streets where every shop felt slightly different from the next. Inside, Presto had a crisp, tidy layout that always seemed cleaner and more organized than you expected. The smell of freshly packed bread wafted near the entrance, and the aisles echoed with the sound of trolleys gliding over smooth floors. Kids remember grabbing the small plastic baskets and pretending they were running their own little shops, while parents appreciated Presto's straightforward pricing and reliable stock. In many towns, Presto arrived like a small burst of modernity, offering a shopping experience that felt efficient without losing its friendly charm. But corporate mergers and rebranding slowly pushed the name out of existence, replacing it with larger chains that lacked the simple personality Presto carried. Today, the brand survives only in the warm corners of memory, where orange logos still glow faintly against the backdrop of childhood weekends. Number 7. Summerfield. For many people in the 90s and early 2000s, Summerfield became the quiet, dependable supermarket that settled comfortably into the corners of everyday British life. Its gentle teal branding felt calm and friendly, and the stores themselves always seemed slightly smaller, slightly softer, and far more personal than the larger chains rising around them. Inside, the air carried the scent of freshly baked pastries, mixed with that faint supermarket chill, the one you felt the moment the automatic doors slid open. Children would linger by the magazine stand, flipping through comics while parents stocked up on essentials like bread, cheese, and those familiar Summerfield own-brand biscuits. The shop was especially cherished in small towns, where it acted almost like a modern village store, a place to exchange quick conversations about school events, rainy weather, or weekend plans. But as competition intensified and expansions faltered, Summerfield struggled to stand its ground. Morrison's eventually absorbed many locations, and the Summerfield name faded from British streets. What remains is the memory of a kind, unassuming supermarket that made the weekly shop feel peaceful and neighborly. Number 8. Co-op of the old days. Before the sleek blue branding and modern refurbishments, the old co-op had a very different personality, one rooted in community and shared history. Many people still remember stepping into those modest stores with their creaky floors, handwritten labels, and the unmistakable scent of bread wrapped in thin paper. The co-op was never just a supermarket. It was a symbol of togetherness, built on the idea of supporting local people and offering fair prices long before corporate slogans made such claims fashionable. Children loved the small sweet displays by the tills, while adults collected their dividend stamps with a quiet sense of pride, knowing every penny earned felt like a reward for loyalty. In many towns, the co-op acted almost like a community hub where neighbors exchanged stories as they queued. But as the retail world modernized, the traditional co-op slowly transformed into the sleeker chain we recognize today. Though still beloved, its older, humbler version lives on only in memory, carrying the soft echo of wooden counters, friendly nods, and a time when shopping felt like being part of something bigger. Number 9. Bejam. Bejam was one of those supermarkets that felt distinctly regional, especially for families living in smaller towns and rural pockets of Britain. It had a gentle, almost countryside character, with bright produce sections that smelled of fresh apples, earthy potatoes, and locally baked bread wrapped in brown paper. The aisles were usually wide and calm, creating a slow, peaceful atmosphere that made quick stops turn into quiet strolls. Many children remember rushing to the chilled drinks section after school, grabbing a carton of juice before their parents filled baskets with everyday essentials. Bejam had a reputation for supporting local suppliers, giving its stores a subtly unique identity depending on where you lived. It brought a sense of pride to smaller communities that felt overlooked by larger chains. But as big supermarkets expanded aggressively, Bejam struggled to hold its ground, and many locations either closed or were taken over by rival brands. What lingers now is the gentle image of a shop that felt rooted in its surroundings, offering a calmer, friendlier way of shopping that's rare to find today. Number 10. Bejam. Before Iceland became a household name, Bejam dominated the frozen food world of the 70s and 80s. Its bright blue and white signage felt crisp and cold, perfectly matching the icy blast that greeted you the moment you stepped inside. The store had a very distinctive atmosphere, long freezer aisles humming steadily, frosty glass lids sliding open with a clatter, and the smell of cardboard packaging mixed with frozen peas and chips. Families visited Bejam not just for convenience but for excitement, because frozen food back then felt modern, almost futuristic. Children loved peering into the deep freezers, imagining icy caverns filled with wonders like Arctic rolls, crispy pancakes, and tubs of brightly colored ice cream. Bejam helped change the way British households cooked, making quick meals accessible and surprisingly fun. But when Iceland acquired the chain in 1989, the familiar Bejam name disappeared almost overnight. Today, only those who lived through that era can still picture the frosty aisles and the thrill of choosing treats from what felt like a supermarket made entirely of winter. Number 11. Netto. Netto entered Britain in the 90s with its bright yellow signs and Danish discount sensibility, instantly giving it a character unlike any other supermarket. The moment you walked in, you were greeted by shelves stacked with budget cereals, unfamiliar European snacks, and surprisingly good bargains that made families feel clever for finding them. The atmosphere was simple and unpolished, with pallets left out on the floor and goods displayed in their original boxes. For children, Netto was a treasure hunt, a place where pocket money treats were always within reach. Parents appreciated the low prices during a decade when every household was feeling the pressure of rising costs. Netto brought a quirky charm to British shopping, introducing new flavors and a no-frills attitude that made it memorable. But despite its efforts, it struggled to compete against more established discount chains, and by the late 2010s, the brand vanished once again from British high streets. What remains is the bright flash of yellow, the cheerful logo, and memories of a supermarket that offered value with a distinctly foreign twist. Number 12. Littlewood's Food Halls. Though better known for its catalog empire, Littlewood's once operated supermarket-style food halls that many people forget even existed. In the 70s and early 80s, these food halls offered a surprisingly refined shopping experience, tucked inside larger department stores that felt grand and exciting to visit. The tiled floors gleamed, the air smelled faintly of bakery goods, and the aisles were lined with neatly arranged tins and treats. Children often tugged at their parents' hands, eager to explore the toy or clothing sections after the groceries were done, making it feel like two outings in one. Littlewood's food halls felt almost elegant compared to other supermarkets of the era, with polite staff and a calm, orderly atmosphere. But as retail trends shifted and department stores faced mounting pressure, the food halls were gradually phased out. Their quiet disappearance left behind a rare kind of memory, one where grocery shopping felt woven into a larger day out, filled with curiosity, family chatter, and a sense of Saturday excitement. Looking back at these old British supermarkets feels like opening a box of faded photographs, each one carrying its own sound, scent, and soft glow from another time. These weren't just shops. They were small chapters in our lives, shaping childhood routines and family moments in ways we never noticed back then. If you enjoyed this trip down memory lane, consider subscribing to Britain Rewind. Together, we'll keep these memories alive, one forgotten place, one treasured moment, one story at a time.